Welcome back everyone, my name is LastKnownMeal and today I'm going to talk about an article. Yes, about an actual article written online. Well, I will try because it's 200 degrees in Europe right now. It's so hard to make videos. Honestly guys, I'm sweating my ass off here, but there is an article on a New York Post written by Mr. Kyle Smith and it goes like this. We're losing a whole generation of young men to video games. Let me read that again to you. We're losing a whole generation of young men to video games. Alright, as soon as I read the title of this article, I was, okay, I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to read through this article and see what Mr. Kyle Smith has to say. Now, before I started reading this, I went and just looked at what Mr. Kyle Smith is writing about. And usually it's Trump, why Americans have stopped moving, Trump. Okay, so he writes about Trump a lot. And now he is writing about video games under tech. Alright, now let's look at the topics or tags. It's addiction, millennials, unemployment, video games. Ooh, addiction, millennials, unemployment, video games. Now, before we start reading through the article, let me look at this photograph. It looks very negative, doesn't it? It looks very dramatic. It feels like this child's mind is trapped inside this video game. It looks very scary, doesn't it? Ooh, scary. And so that's the official photo for this article. Okay, now let's go to the textual level to the textual part of this article. He starts off with a very personal story where one night in the mid-1990s he played a video game called Civilization. And he played that game until 7 a.m. in the morning. He didn't realize he was playing that game until 7 a.m. in the morning. And in his defense, it's really easy to be immersed in a game like Civilization because it's a very good game. And progressing through the game, you know, meeting other cultures in it, progressing your empire, expanding your empire can be really fun and really addicting. And then he talks about how he didn't realize it was 7 a.m. and he felt euphoric. He felt more than happy and he became afraid that he is going to be addicted to it and that he doesn't have time to play this game. Okay, I respect you don't have time to play it, so he stashed away this game in a faraway land in his drawer. Okay. And then he turns to the people today, to young men of today, where they're playing video games so much that they just get disconnected from the real world. Okay. Millions of people, young men, are caught in the throes of video games. Let's talk about addiction a bit, shall we? Let's talk about how one can be addicted to something. How someone can be addicted to drugs, alcohol, and even video games. Now, first of all, I am not denying that there isn't anyone out there who isn't genuinely addicted to video games. There are people out there who are addicted to video games, but it's far more complicated than that, because what causes addiction? Alright, high stress level, problems with your family, problems with your parents, problems with your friends, trauma, depression, anxiety. All of that can be a trigger for someone to be addicted to something. Because when you're addicted to something, for example, drugs, on drugs you feel good, you feel happy because you escape reality. And video games are essentially something similar, not with drugs, but with how you can escape reality to relax yourself, to be immersed in this world of fantasy of I don't know what. Can you be addicted to this? Yes, you can, but only if you have those triggers that I mentioned. Problems with family, problems with friends, depression, anxiety. Video games are not the only reason because you get addicted to them. You're not addicted to video games because of video games. You're addicted to video games because your real life sucks. And that's a whole nother problem that you need to solve, that someone needs to help you with. And it doesn't essentially need to be video games. It can be anything. So, to say that we're losing a whole generation of young men to video games is wrong. Because he also talks about young men not wanting to work because they want to play video games. In my book, it's called laziness. And I knew that there are lazy people even before video games. That there are people who don't want to work because they want to play video games. There's also people who don't want to work because they want to watch TV, because they want to be on social media. There's also people who do the same thing with TV, with social media, who can be addicted, who can be genuinely addicted to that as an actual problem. Not be addicted because I played, let's say, The Witcher 3 for 6 hours. I'm not addicted. I love that game. I got immersed into it and I was waiting for that game for a very long time. So excuse me if I want to relax myself and play that game for 6 hours because I worked my ass off the entire day. Now, as I said, addiction is a serious problem that has causes far away from video games. With family, with friends, with depression, with anxiety, with stress, with trauma. And of course, someone can turn to video games to escape reality. My friend, whose father passed away, locked himself, only he didn't lock himself in a room. He locked himself in his room and played video games, and that's how he dealt with the death of his father. That's how he dealt with it. That is similar to how I dealt with the death of my father, because I played some video games to forget about what was happening, to relax my brain and to just forget about what is going on. And that was my way and his way of dealing with that. And after some time, when he was ready, he returned and started talking with his friends and family and everything, and he had help, of course. He had help. So someone is going to play video games to escape reality and just relax and forget about what is going on. But it's not going to cause an entire generation of young men to just be lost because of video games. Now, he also talks about men aged from 21 to 30 worked 12% fewer hours in 2015 than in 2000. So we're going to blame only video games for this. Okay, I can give you a bunch more reasons why this could be happening. For example, in my country, people work less because there is nowhere to work. Also, you have other things that can cause this, potentially. Social media, TV, internet. It doesn't have to be video games. I have a bunch of friends who are, addicted, who spend a lot of time on Facebook and Twitter. They don't play video games, but they're not productive, as one would say, because this is his point right here. This is the point of Kyle Smith. that people are not productive because of video games. In some cases that could be true, but it's not for everyone. Someone can use video games to relax from work. For example, I turned playing video games into a side job by having a YouTube channel where I talk about video games. And I work really hard on my videos. Is that making me not productive because I'm using video games to work? No, I am being productive. I am being productive every single day. So he says every hour spent on Ghost Recon or Grand Theft Auto 5 is an hour that could have been spent more productively. What is being productive? What if for someone being productive is to play video games to relax so he could focus on something else when he's done playing video games? What, for example, me who works an entire day, comes back home, plays a video game for 2 hours, I don't know, to relax myself. Should I be spending that somewhere else? You should read a book. I am reading a book. Every night before I go to sleep, I read a book to relax myself. You should be writing. I am writing, sometimes when I get a chance. So, saying that playing video games is going to make you less productive is just stupid. Now, of course, he says that, well, I can also talk about golf because people spend time playing golf and just they can spend that time being more productive. But his argument to that is that you don't see golf players sitting in his mom's basement, and this is just a stereotype that gamers live in a basement. God damn it, this is just a stereotype which is so wrong. So being happy playing video games for him is wrong. It's just addicting. It's very addicting. Yeah, no. So trust me, you will have people who are genuinely addicted because of other reasons. You will have people who will play video games to relax, so they could focus on something different. You will have people work less because of video games, but it mostly means that they're just lazy. Because you had lazy people before video games. Even when TV was coming on a scene back in the day, people said like, oh, people are watching TV. People are watching TV, they're not being productive. Oh my god. It's also with cell phones, I'm not denying that. You will have a lot of young people sitting in a cafe not talking to each other, just typing. Of course, that is a problem. But a whole generation? Really, really, really not true. Now, maybe I am not as eloquent as this guy. Maybe I'm really trying hard with all this heat to explain why this could be wrong. He also talks about women not going towards men who are not as successful as they are. That if you spend a lot of time playing video games and you decide to start your life in your 30s, that you're going to have a problem. Well, it really depends from person to person. Is he going to let himself start his life in his 30s? It comes down to from person to person. It's almost as saying, hey, driving a car is going to kill you. You're going to have an accident. Could be happening. Could not be happening. Who knows? Same as, you know, video games turning kids, making kids aggressive. But it's not just video games. It's not just young men. And it's not all of us gamers. And that is the problem I have with media of today. They're going to talk about a negative thing and only about a negative thing. Now he does mention that we do connect with people online, that we do have good reflexes and a bunch of other stuff. It's a very small thing. It's very, like, 2 sentences and that's it. And then he's back at, you know, telling all the negative things that video games have to offer. That we're becoming willing slaves to PlayStation. Looks very dark, doesn't it? And you know, when older people are reading this, they don't get the whole story. They don't get the whole point of why one could be addicted to video games, and they consider video games to be addicting, and there comes the problem. The problem is that for many young men, video games have become a substitute for living. Many young men. No, I don't think it's many. I think it's a couple of people that have other problems that try to find some way of happiness in video games, but it's not all people. It's not an entire generation. So I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. From time to time, I'm actually just going to find an article this dumb because I have to talk about it. So hopefully I managed to explain myself here. I am not really eloquent. It's really hot, so it's hard to focus on this, but I'm going to leave you a link to the article down below. You can read it, and it's just so stupid. I love when he says Casa de la Mama. God damn it. I hate these stereotypes, man. Like gamers living in their mom's basement. That's so wrong. So Kyle Smith, thank you for not looking at everything. Thank you for just having an agenda, which is basically all video games are a problem, and we should spend more time doing something productive. What if I am doing something productive, but I want to relax playing video games, okay? And to go back to your example, so you played Civilization for an entire night until 7 AM. Were you happy? Did you relax yourself? If you did, then great. But don't be afraid, you're not going to be addicted to it. You know, if you like your life of writing for New York Post, I believe you will not be addicted to something as petty as video games. So that's it. LastKnownMeal signing out. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. Tell me down below what you think about this, because it's just, I don't know. And they have more articles about video games. Why more young men aren't working? Video games. Ooh, it's only video games. There is nothing else in the world that's going to make young people not work. What about one thing? Unemployment. Okay? So, LastKnownMeal signing out again. Thank you for watching and comment down below. Bye bye.